All right, all right. Welcome back to the Military Retirement Podcast. Awesome to be back, coming to you straight from the sauna. What it
Doing
looks
barrel saunas today.
like. Oh man, I'm getting over a cold, so that's fun. But no, so John, I'll tell you, I am not in the sauna. I am, as we were talking offline, decided to. Oh, serious echo going on here. Let me see. Let me see if I can do something with my audio. Maybe I'm. All right, test 1 2 3. How's that? How's that?
Good on
If
my
I
side.
hold this up here a little bit. Okay. So yeah, um, last week I decided, let's do something and let's get away for a little bit. Let's go to let's go to Oregon. We just picked somewhere on the map. Let's go to Oregon, right? Our plans kind of fell through a little bit because they were, as we know, the whole thing with the whole federal workers and all that stuff, and I was kind of on the fence with whether I'm going to stay, whether I'm going to go, etc. And I canceled my trip. Here we go. I don't know what's happening. I canceled my trip to Portugal because of this whole thing. And so I decided, let's since I canceled my trip to Portugal, let's go somewhere else. So we decided, hey, um, let's go to Oregon, book some tickets, grab an Airbnb, and we're here now in the Oregon coast, just hanging out like a trail down to the beach. It's freaking awesome. Cold as hell outside too. What you would expect around this time frame in Oregon to be like, and like very surprised because I didn't see this on the Airbnb listing, but there's like a full library right outside the door, and it looks like a college professor has this house, right? Like owns this house. It's got it's like Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, and it's got all these cool books, things that I would be on my list. Um, Very cool. I didn't realize that would be there. Nice addition. But yeah, I just had to get away, man. That's what it is. I think life back in like SoCal was getting a little overwhelming a little bit, and I just needed a change of scenery. I 2 days. I turned. I won't tell you how old I turned, but my birthday was 2 days ago, so that was part of it. Right. Let's
Happy
go
birthday.
celebrate. So thank you very much, man. Let's go celebrate my birthday somewhere else. Change of scenery. Um, and it's a very welcome one. The whole family's loving it. Brought the whole family out here. Um, Oregon is surprisingly like I didn't know anything about Oregon. It's freaking beautiful out here. It's completely green. We went out to the beach. Everybody has a freaking dog out here, and everybody looks like they're gonna go camping at any time, right? They're all wearing their camping gear. Oh man, so it's very cool, man. If you ever get a chance to go out here, come out here. Beautiful place, man. It's so green, so green. It's completely different from the deserts of San Diego, right?
Yeah.
It's all brown and shit. But with that, John, I know we were going to talk a little bit about books and all that, and I know how they make us quiver with joy, right? But I did find this one that I've never heard of before, and I started reading it yesterday. It's called The Tao of Pooh. Have you heard of this one?
I have that book.
You have it. I saw it on the shelf. Immediately, I opened it, and it's got the Tay of Piglet.
Mm.
It's like a double thing. Immediately, I went on eBay and purchased this exact one.
Oh, poo.
Because as we know, Pooh is, he's very simple, but
Very
he
simple guy. Just trying to get some honey.
just trying to get some honey, man. And what's that saying he has? Nothing is impossible. People say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing every day. That's Pooh, man. Surprisingly, very deep. Mr. Pooh is.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting what you will glean from some cartoon characters and things like that. Dilbert is another one. Scott Adams, just
Dilbert,
his
yeah.
cartoons in general, but his philosophy on life and some things he talks about definitely resonate and allow you to step back and just think of things a little bit more simpler and really try not to take take things with a grain of salt and try not to, what's the saying? Don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff.
That's right. It is all small stuff. Oh, this thing just snapped off on me. Let me just lay it right here. This might work out a little bit better. Yeah, it is all small stuff, man. And that's a big thing a big reason why I wanted to get away, right? It was, life was getting overwhelming. My to-do list was like through the roof. And, I shared a little bit about my phone and all that last week, how I'm trying to go a little bit like more simple with the whole phone thing.
Yep.
And I would show you the phone, but I'm using it as the continuity camera on the computer right now.
Yep.
But yeah, just getting rid of all the icons, just having the words on there like phone, Gmail, YouTube, the things that I use, and just cutting out all the fat. And it's been working out well for me, man. It's since coming here, just walking on the beach, just hanging out with the family, having minimal things at my disposal. I didn't bring anything from my studio really, just my phone, these headphones that I use on the flight, and my DJI mic, which is part of the little camera. Minimal phone usage, but there's been such a mental clarity, man, in the last like 3 days. It really has. Just kind of like it feels so good to not be at like always wondering what's happening online. Like I came in the house, I threw my phone in that luggage behind me, and can you hear me? Okay, this thing keeps cutting out.
Yeah.
Threw my phone in the luggage, and just left it as is, man. And I logged in. I happened to log in this morning when I was setting up, and I was like, we got like 16 requests for the military retirement group. I was like, oh shit, well, I should probably update this and get on here a little bit more.
Tons.
Yeah, tons, man. But it does feel good, man. Just disconnecting for a little bit, just getting off of the phone, man. Just throwing some wood in the fireplace, watching the ocean, hanging out. The stress of life kind of gone a little bit. I'm gonna have to get back into it a little bit more, but I know what I need to cut out. What made me feel good here, I'm not gonna bring that with me back home.
Yeah, that's it's one of the big 10 reasons why I decided to relocate here. Of course, my wife, building a new life, trying to get back to European structure of things, because that's kind of my sweet spot. Even in Germany, it was. But here, you can definitely just pull off on a side road and go down for a mile or two and just literally just park and sit and chill and disconnect completely. And that's really one of the things that I need more than anything in life. I realized that back in the States, when I was living in the States, I did have a couple opportunities to spend some time out in the wood line a little bit, away from the city, away from all the clatter and the clutter. But for me, it's definitely, it's a pain in the ass to be always in the grind of things and always in the current popular, culture of things, and being able to step back away from that like really, really easily. Even on the way to work, like there's a distance between my house and work, and there's a lot of places where I can stop and get a coffee, or stop and somewhere in the middle of nowhere, really, and just chill for a second, take a few minutes if I need to. And then, of course, drive up to the mountains, drive down to the sea. It's all within reach. And that's what I really, really love about this kind of triangulated for, not isolation, but triangulated for like peace and quiet and tranquility if you need it. Like we went down to the sea yesterday. We went for a long walk along the sea. And just doing that, like something simple as doing that on a regular day, where you're not trying to get to somewhere and buy something and get to a restaurant and do shopping and like all this stuff. You can just chill out, enjoy the time, enjoy the sea, enjoy the smell, enjoy a little sunshine, hopefully, if it's not raining, and really just disconnect a little bit. And I think people need that more and more and more now, especially now with, as you mentioned, with the phone all these apps, all these notifications. Like, you just need to be able to disconnect from that stuff. And again, not to isolate yourself, because that's definitely not what you want to do. But just to re-energize more than anything. Like, that's what I feel like is my recharge on my battery, is to get some of that quiet time, that downtime, sit on the patio, or like whatever it happens to be.
Oh, absolutely.
And just disconnect for a few minutes.
Yeah, you know, I was we're at the grocery store. Like, we're here for a week, and we stop at the grocery store, and you know, because I'm not going to go out and eat for every meal, right? So we have a full kitchen here. It's an entire house, right? An Airbnb, and we got eggs and, you know, bacon, stuff like, you know, whatever we want for dinner, for lunches and stuff. And I looked at some of the bread and, you know, some of the ingredients, and we're at the Safeway here. And it says, hey, it's $2 off if you download our app and use our app as a member price, right? For a member price. And I thought about it, and I had my phone in my back pocket. I hadn't really opened it really, except to look for the time. And I took it with me just in case, you know, my kid calls me. My kid wanted to stay in the car and play his little whatever game. So I'm like, all right, you know, I'll keep it on me just in case. And I thought, you know, forget this freaking app. I'd rather pay the extra $2 if it means I don't have to download something else. You know, forget this trash. And I ended up actually finding something else that I could pick up for less anyway. But the way they get you, right? Like, you got to download these apps, fill your life with these apps, you know, and you're constantly like monitoring the stuff. It's constantly on your mind. And, you know, I'm so glad that I didn't download the thing. I'm so glad that I didn't do any of that. I didn't fall victim to all that trash. Because, you know, that's one more thing that I would have to keep track of in my mind. Oh man, if I want to save $2, I got to download their app, and I got to, you know, I have to do this if I need to save some money. No, forget that, man. It's like, spend the extra $2 if you can, and just live your life.
I think $2 is definitely worth the peace of mind.
Yes, it is. It is, man. And you know, and then I started thinking to myself as I'm sitting here, like, so we have this deck overlooking the beach, and you see all the waves crashing on the coast, and it's got like this rocky coast edge, you know. And I was thinking, I was like, what do I really need to be happy, man? Like, what do I really need? And to the point where I was like, man, I could just let's just. I was talking to my wife, let's just buy a place out here. Let's just like quit everything we're doing back home and just buy a place out here, away from everybody, away from everything. You know, and the housing out here is significantly less than the housing in San Diego, even for like an ocean view house. You know, I definitely don't have an ocean view house in San Diego. I'm close to the water, close enough to drive there, but not close enough to see it from my house.
Yeah.
But I thought, you know, we can make something work. But then you also fall victim to finding out what your next purpose is. Like, what do I want to do now that I'm here? You know, like I'm here where I want to be. Do I become a farmer? Like, what happens next? You know, so that's how things start filling up on the checklist, right? Like, what do I want to do? Do I want to work at this whatever factory where it seems like everybody that lives in this little town works at this one place? So I'm right here in close to, I don't know if you heard of like Tillamook ice cream.
Tillamook, yep.
Yeah, so I'm right next to Tillamook, the big factory, that the creamery, right, that makes all this stuff. So I'm staying right next to it. Beautiful place, man. Ton of farms and stuff like that as you're driving through. Beautiful place. Like, there's a whole river that runs through the entire, like, all the towns and stuff. But I thought, would I just work at the factory? Like, what would I do? I guess I don't have to do anything if I don't want to. Like, the retirement and the VA disability and all that stuff would pay for everything that we need. But then you have to find that purpose. Like, what's going to give me the reason to be every day? You know, I can only sit there and read so many books on the balcony every day. I suppose I can be a writer or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I'd probably turn out like Chevy Chase in Funny Farm. Have you watched that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
He buys a house out in the country, and then he goes freaking insane. The mailman's riding by throwing his trash. You know, it's a So I'd probably turn out like him. I don't know.
I think it's intention, man. I really, I mean, I got to take off, blessed that I got to take off a decent chunk of 3 years
Yeah.
from the time I retired to the time I started back at an actual job. In between, in that time, I was doing a bunch of stuff, getting into photography, doing more of this stuff with the podcasts and video recording,
Yeah.
putting myself out there in different ways. Not really so much spending more time on social media, but just kind of trying to figure out how do I manage it if I want to do it alongside of this and
Hmm.
alongside of some other stuff that I was doing. Did a lot of journaling, did a lot of writing. Spent a whole summer in the sea swimming every single day, which was really, really good for my mental health as well, because you get to, I mean, I probably mentioned it before, but swimming for me is one of the best exercises you can do that doesn't drain you completely, and it also leaves you in a really good state of mind after you get out of the pool or after you get out of the ocean or wherever you're swimming at.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's just that going back to the prenatal stage of like being in the womb, because you're surrounded by the amniotic sac in the womb and you've got nothing but like water around you, and then you come out and then you're in this world where you're breathing air and doing all this stuff. Not to get woo woo
Hmm.
about it, but something about being in the sea, being in the water, if you're comfortable with it, right? If you're not super scared of drowning or anything like that, I think it's just something, it's like a meditation almost. If you're not out there like doing crazy laps in the pool and you're just taking your time and swimming,
Hmm.
I feel like that's one of the best exercises because it works all the muscles, it works your cardio, and it gives you this kind of mental like reset as well. I mean, you get time to
Yeah.
think a little bit, and you get time to just process things as you're swimming or doing whatever you're doing in the water. So for me, that 3 year break was really just, I think my intention was I didn't want to go back to a job. And so
Hmm.
in that time period, I just sat and figured out like, what do I want to do? How do I want to do it? How do I want to spend my time? Do I want to have enough time to do whatever I want to do and take breaks and take a nap and, you know, relax a little bit? Do I want to push forward and continue to work really, really hard like I did in the military? I just took a break, took a break, intentionally took a break and said intentionally I wasn't going to go back to work. And eventually I found myself
Yeah.
going back to work, which now, you know, looking backwards, um, it's a lot more, it's not super stressful. It's not a tough job. It's not a bad environment. It's really, it's decent, right? But at the same time, it eats up a chunk of my day
Hmm.
that I don't have anymore, right? If I had before when I
Yeah.
wasn't working. So yeah, it's the grass is always greener. I've actually been
It
reading a
is.
really
It
good
is.
book lately. Robert Rodriguez wrote a book. It's Man Without a Crew, I think is what the name of the book is, the title of it. I can pull it
Hmm.
up on my phone if you want. But basically, it talks about his journey in his 20s of trying to become a filmmaker and trying to do things on a shoestring budget with as little
Mm.
money, as little equipment, as little crew as possible.
Right.
And he basically talks about his journey through the eyes of his diary that he was keeping, his journal he was keeping. So he kept a journal every single day just to basically document what he was doing, the
Yeah.
process that he was taking, and everything that he talks about in that book, and then he's carried that with him forward into his you know really famous career of being a director producer of some big hit films.
Hmm.
But at that time he was doing everything on his own. He was doing all the post production, the editing, he was doing all the filming, he was doing the special effects. He did basically everything on his own and did it for the minimal amount of money that he could possibly do. And he did it in such a way where he was I guess the first three films that he made, or the first film that he actually made, the first feature film that he actually made was basically him trying to say, okay, I'm going to make three crappy movies, not crappy, but best I can make movies with the least amount of money and the least amount of people, and sell them to the Spanish speaking market, like South
Right.
America, Mexico, And then once I get those 3, I can have those put on my resume on my little cut reel, and then go and approach Hollywood and see what I can do from there. Right. So I think looking at it from that perspective, like that's kind of what I did while I was in my little 3-year break. I just looked at things and I said, what can I do now to bring me closer to what I think I want to do? Try some of those things out. And then at the end, like if it all blows up and nothing works out, like I've done the experimentation. I've earned a little bit of experience. I've got to meet a bunch of people along the way, made friends, and consequently, a lot of the people that I've met along the way in that 3-year period are now, key people that I talk to today. So,
yeah, and a lot of it is about connections too. And I'll go back to something we received from Navy Cop here. And thanks, Navy Cop. Welcome to the show as well. Vic, you need to check out the Tillamook Air Museum if you haven't already, or if you haven't. They use an old World War II airship barn, Navy, to house historical aircraft and such. Pretty cool place. That, funny enough, that's on my list of things to do. I'm here for a few more days, so it is on my list of things to do. But yeah, since getting here, just walking through a little town, right? There's a little town down here. We just talking to people. People are so friendly. Where I would walk down somewhere like in San Diego, people don't look up from their phones. They're in their own world, right? Over here, it's like, you get the hey, or people let you go at the 4-way stops. Normally, it's like whoever gets there first, and they just roll through the stop sign and then just go, right? Almost causing accidents. Over here, I've noticed it probably on 4 different occasions going on these 4-way stops, and it's like you look at the person, and everybody that I've encountered has given me the right of way. Like when we get there at the same time, and I try to do the same thing, and they're like, no, go. People randomly holding the door open for me and stuff. Like, hey, here you go, sir. I'm like, God damn, like, am I old? How old am I? Right? I can't hold the door open for myself, but that's just my mentality thinking, right? But yeah. With that, I reached out to the American Legion here through Facebook, and they invited me over to a group, a meeting that they're having on Wednesday. So I'm grateful for that. Folks, I put it on there like, hey, here's who I am, here's what I'm doing. I run this podcast, I do this YouTube channel thing, and I really just want to talk to fellow veterans. I don't know anybody from here, and I'm just looking to connect with folks. See what your life is like out here, after the uniform, etc. Things that I've talked to you about, John, with doing with the Green Logbook, right? Just going out there and just experiencing different people's points of view. Just holding the camera up there and just talking to them, right? Hey, veteran, hey, friend, whoever you are, you left the service. You might have had a big burden on your shoulder. You may have had some kind of PTSD or some kind of issues when you left the service. Tell me how life is for you now. Did you find peace? What are you doing? Did you become a farmer? How is that working out for you? How is that? How are you dealing with your mental health now? Not to get too in the weeds with their stuff, but just to see what their life is like. Because I'm curious. I do want to know what people are like around here. And I'm glad that I think Kevin is his name, and I hope it is, and I hope I got it right. So if Kevin is listening to this, thanks for the invite. I will attempt to make my way out there on Wednesday, because I know the kids are like, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? Can we do that? And there's like a tunnel out here that they want to go to. There's this and that. So we want to do everything, but yet I want to do nothing, and yet I want to go visit these things and connect with these folks. So I do appreciate the American Legion for inviting me to their get together this Wednesday.
Yeah. And I mean, it'll give you a pulse of what you're actually asking, right? What you actually asked a few minutes ago is what is it like to live in this situation in this town?
Yeah.
What does this kind of blue collar kind of laid back life look like?
Yeah.
That'll give you a firsthand account from the locals of what it's like and what it feels like and what they're experiencing. And I would guess that it's probably, really, really the way you see it. Like, it's laid back. People are nice. People take care of each other. It's small town kind of America, built around a big factory, which is the way a lot of decent
right.
American cities were built.
That's right.
Hopefully it doesn't go away anytime soon, but
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't think it will. I mean, the creamery here is, I mean, it's all over it's nationwide, right?
yeah.
At Tillamook Creamery. So their building is beautiful. You know, we're gonna go take a tour of the whole place out there. I like their ice cream. You know, I get their butter and stuff. So if I like it, you know, I'm sure other people like it out there.
Yeah.
Shout out to real quick to Richard Andrews, Stephen Farr. The rebuilding of Ton Tavern makes me happy. It also makes me happy as well, Richard. I've been following that. I saw that they broke some ground on it, and at some point in time, I do intend to make my way out there because that is kind of like that will now become like the mecca for Marines. I think to go visit Ton Tavern, where the Marine Corps started. You know, people joke that the Marine Corps started in a bar, and really it did kind of, right. Like I forgot it is escaping me, but somebody walked in there. They're like the first Marine recruiter, right? He's like, hey, we need some people to come fight with us. Who's in? And he goes into a bar and recruits these people to come fight. You know, and it was it's a cool story, and I'm glad that they're bringing that back because right now there's only a sign out there in I think it's in Philadelphia. There's only a sign out there that shows that Ton Tavern existed here at some point. Now they're building it up, which is pretty cool. And a lot of the Marine Corps balls, they try to replicate the facade of Ton Tavern. You can take photos there.
Oh.
Now it's pretty cool that they're actually putting that in place now. Awesome.
Historical landmarks.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah, but aside from that, man, it's been eye opening. It's been like a breath of fresh air coming out here, and that that goes back to the title of this YouTube. It's what makes you happy, and I think it is the little things that do make me happy. It is getting rid of, as they say, cut the fat, right? Getting rid of everything, all distractions that come from every which way that are drowning us in what we do in daily life. We have to-do lists. We have things that we have to do for work. We have appointments, and of course, those are part of your daily life. But do you need all those appointments? Do you need that entire to-do list? Do you need to be on your phone all the time? Do you need to be constantly connected to everything all the time? And the answer is really no. And I learned that firsthand, coming here. And I'm sure people are like, I need to get into this military retirement group, but nobody's accepting my damn invitation. And it's 17 now. We have 17 folks that are trying to get in there, and that's my bad. I haven't checked the military retirement group since I got here like 3 days ago, because I did throw my cell phone in my luggage when I got here, just to kind of disconnect a little bit. But that's what matters, man. Connecting with my family. Like, we were playing cards the other night. When's the last time my kids put down their phones or their gaming devices and just played cards? We were playing War, we were playing whatever, Go Fish, whatever they wanted, right? Some of them were making it up as we go along, but it's been so long since I've seen something like that it kind of opened my eyes. Like, this is what we needed. This is what we need. This is what I needed in my life right now to make me, to make me feel better, to make me feel complete, and similar to like you living out there, it's, I've been to Italy, I've been to these European countries where it's not a shopping center every, half mile as you're driving down the road. Right. I've been out to Florence, beautiful area. You go out to Tuscany and stuff. You can park on the side of the road, just kind of walk around if you want to, wineries and farms and stuff like that. It's beautiful, beautiful countryside. And it is about less distractions. I've come to that conclusion. It is about less distractions. It really is.
Yeah, less distractions. And certainly also another thing that I've experienced since I've been here is something that I haven't really experienced ever in my life, which is really every Sunday before we record, usually before we record, sometimes after, we do family meal, basically. So we sit down. It's my wife, her parents, her brother, sometimes her cousins, If my family's in town, they'll be here for it as well. And we basically block off like that whole time. We cook a meal. We don't order food, generally speaking. That's usually like a Friday or a Thursday night thing or something like that, if we get
Hmm.
together or something like that. But generally it's we'll have it at one location, somebody's house. We'll get together, we'll sit down, we'll cook food together. Maybe some of the food's already prepared before we show up, if we're going somewhere else, or if they're coming over here, we're spending our morning and our afternoon cooking, getting things ready for lunch, prepping the day before. um, and we just sit down, we have a meal. It's not a long meal, it's like, an hour and a half. We eat, we sit down, spend some time, maybe watch a show or something after that, or take a nap, or whatever happens to be the case. But we do definitely get together, we spend time, we put the meal together, and then we sit down to eat together. And that's literally every single Sunday. And that's something that I have never experienced in my personal life. I'm sure a few folks out there have had that kind of family bonding, but usually for me growing up, that was literally like Thanksgiving, maybe Christmas, maybe Easter. It was special times of the year where you get together
Yeah,
with the
big
family and have
events.
everybody together, or funerals, um,
Right, right.
or the other times it happens. But other than that, beyond that, it was like once in a while. It's something that I've kind of brought with me back to the States. Whenever I go back, I'll call up my
Hmm.
cousins, call up the people who are still around, and say, hey, you just want to grab lunch or whatever. Not a big production or anything like that, but people I haven't seen in a long time, that's the first thing I try to do, is schedule that time with them, because honestly, like, that's the most important thing, really, over
No,
everything
it
else,
is.
over hobbies, over figuring out what you want to do, like spending time with your family, um, and just breaking bread with them, and telling them I love you. And
Hmm.
that's really all it is, man. Everything else beyond that is really just stuff stuff to do,
It's what
stuff to
matters, man.
stuff to figure out.
And the thing is, we only really do it on big occasions, right? Like you mentioned, Christmas, Thanksgiving, stuff like that. That's really when it happens. And I live across the country from my entire family lives on the East Coast, like my
Yep.
mother, my brothers, and all that. And um, as my parents have grown older, my family out there has started to do more get-togethers. I can only make it to a handful, right? Usually New Year's, or some of the bigger events where more folks come together. And it does feel like I'm missing out on these things, because now more than ever I'm on this text message group with
Yeah.
my siblings, my parents, and like, hey, we're doing a family cookout this Sunday. You guys want to come? Come over to the house. And I'm like, shit, I'm missing it. I'm really missing it. And that would now. All right, so we'll take a step back here. I I've opted with this whole federal worker thing. I submitted my response to the DRP, the Deferred Resignation Program, right?
Yep.
Just kind of like cats out the back, right? I did it because I saw like the way ahead. I'm probationary. I'm probably not going to have this job for very much longer. Supervisory position, everything people would want in a position, right? Great team and all that, but I can see the writing on the wall, and I can see like, hey, look, things are probably not going to work out well for me here in a few months because they are still trying to cut down on things. So I went ahead and submitted for that. And so I had to talk with my wife. Hey, she asked me, what are you going to do for the next 5 months? I'm like, I'm going to do whatever I want to do. Right. When I was off for 2 weeks, when they like got rid of all probationary and I was probationary, it was basically like a 2 week vacation. Right. I was at home picking up my kids from school, picking them up or dropping them off at school, picking them up from school, just getting things done, man. I rearranged my entire garage. I fixed things. There was like a honey-do list that my wife had for me. I went to town on all this stuff. And it made me feel good, sense of achievement, sense of doing something around the house, and I thought, I'm going to have about 5 months of this DRP, whatever they're going to pay me for about 5 months. I'm going to go out and fly to Florida where my family is. And I'm just going to show up on a random Sunday hey, I'm here. I want to join in on the cookout. And they're going to be like, holy shit, we didn't know you were coming. Well, I'm here now. And it's only like what you can find a cheap flight for like $200. It's $200 worth me going out there to enjoy time with family. It most definitely is. I got a place to stay out there. I joked that my parents bought a house that's way too big for them after all the kids moved out. There's like 5 extra bedrooms I can like choose of my choosing. Um, but yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Maybe take my kid out there, over the weekend, my kids, um, just do what I want to do. And I'm, I'm of the mindset that things will work out. Things have worked out thus far. I will find something will fall in my lap. I'm done like kind of racking my mind trying to figure out what's my next passion, what's my next purpose. It will come to me. I'm positive that it will come to me. It will find me in some way, shape, or form. But I need to take care of number one, which is me. This guy up here, this guy here. I got to take care of that first. Um, so with that, yeah, I'm just going to have a lot of time on my hands, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to build pergolas in the backyard. I'm going to just do anything I want to do because I'm going to have this free time. It's paid off. It's paid time, dude.
Yep.
And I'm looking online and people are like, hey, and I get it. Not everybody's in the same situation that we're in, right? We're retired. We got, the disability stuff coming in. We're in a better position than a lot of folks. So a lot of folks, like, especially as I hear the murmurs around work, like, oh man, are you going to take the DRP? I think I'm going to take the DRP. I don't know. And then like it's 5 months of paid work or whatever while you're at home. You could find another job. I'm like, why rush into that? Why rush into it? Take a month to yourself, man. Go somewhere. Go to freaking Italy. Go anywhere. Go do something. Go find yourself. Go chill out. There's no real reason unless you're like really financially like struggling. There's no real reason to jump back in the rat race, dude, because that's not good for that. I can tell you that's not good for me up here. That has been fucking terrible since I got out of the military, dude. It has been
Yep.
terrible just trying to figure out what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? And I've stopped listening to folks saying, hey, you're going to be all right, man. Pump the brakes. And I've always had one speed. Go, go, go. What do I need to do next? That I've never actually stopped to think about what does this guy really need instead of what this guy really wants. I would love to be, a millionaire, but I'll get there eventually. I don't need it right now. I'm good here.
Does that bleed over into what you were experiencing when you were getting close to retirement and getting ready to get out of the military? Like you had this kind of anxiety about what you're going to do, finding a job
Yeah,
and all that stuff, kind of
yeah.
bleeding over into this phase.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So it was I see that a lot from folks who are getting out, right? You and I, we talk to veterans, we talk to people who aren't getting out, and they're like, what am I going to get into next? I got to find another job. I got to do something. And I'm thinking to myself now, it's like my mindset has shifted. What's the hurry? You got 3 months. Like I started working during my terminal leave. Now looking back on it, I had 3 months of terminal leave, and I started working 1 month into my terminal leave.
Yep.
Looking back on it, I would have probably taken the full 3 months of terminal leave and just spent it with my family. Told my wife, hey, look, take a month off. She's got an enormous amount of hours that she can take off, and her job. Take a month off. Let's go somewhere. Let's go. Let's just get away from everything. Things are going to be taken care of here at the house. But yeah, now it kind of opens a perspective, and I'm glad that it does, because now I can, if people ask me, like, what should I do after I get out? Because we get that question all the time. I don't know what my next purpose is going to be. We get it all the time. Now I have a different lens to look out from. You don't have to do anything right now because society is expecting you to do something. If people are expecting, okay, if this guy's not working, he's unemployed, he's worthless. You know, are you really worthless though? I mean, you got something coming in. You can do whatever you want. That's freedom. That is the definition of freedom, dude. You can do what you want. And I'm glad that I got the perspective now. Like just coming here, being here for just under a week has opened up that lens for me that I don't have to rush into something immediately, you know. And I can tell other people who are getting out of the military, you don't have to do that because you're just gonna add more things on your mind. You're gonna build that anxiety. You know, it's going to lead to more things. Like if you don't get what you want and you've been striving for this job all along, it's going to lead to depression. You're going to beat yourself up over it. Instead of that, focus on what you want to do. Spend time with the family. You don't have to rush into some other job. You know, go get lost somewhere. Go do something that you really want to do. Go travel somewhere. Go read a book. Go spend a week reading the Tao of Pooh, you know, or Piglet or whatever this is, the Tao of Pooh. And it'll open your mind, man. It really will. And it's taken me a lot. It's taken me a full year and some change. I think I've been retired for a full year almost, to realize that. Like, I don't need all this trash on top of me. I just let shit go. Things will happen, you know. Freedom, yeah. Freedom looks more and more after. Yeah, so Kyle Maines, thanks for chiming in, Kyle, man. He was my roommate in Iraq, or he was one of our roommates in Iraq. So we had, you know, we transitioned from these tents to the cans. Great friend, man. Awesome dude. But he's a chief warrant officer in the Marine Corps right now. And, you know, at that point, one of the big reasons why I left the military, and I'm sure a lot of folks do, is because, you know, you no longer want to PCS anymore. I got tired of PCSing. I liked where we were in San Diego. Let's just stick around because I don't really want to move. What was my next move? Was going to Camp Lejeune or North Carolina or something. Didn't want to go back there. I don't even know where. I can't remember where they were going to send me. Okinawa, Japan or something. Or I don't know. But I didn't want to move. So, yeah, Kyle, it does look better and better every year.
I mean, I just didn't want to deal with the dumb shit anymore. That's why I got out. I just didn't want to deal with the dumb shit. And I was like, you know what? I've done my time. I've done more than my time. I've given a lot of myself to this job. And then, unfortunately, coming out and getting in on the civilian side or even on the contractor side, there's still a tinge. That depends on what position you hold and what, you know, if you're GS or if you're a contractor or whatever, but there's still a tinge of dumb shit. So it's not as bad, but I didn't want to do the dumb shit anymore. Like I didn't want to work myself 18 hours every day for, you know, 7 days a week and have nothing to show. It's kind of like working for a regular job, right? You're putting in all these hours and doing all the stuff for somebody else to build their company to make them rich.
Right. Yeah. Excuse me. I feel like as long as you're working for somebody else, there's always going to be dumb shit. There is always going to be something that is expected to be that
when you're working by yourself too.
Oh, there is. But I mean, that's self-induced dumb shit, right? Like that's where I want to be. And I have to go through this dumb shit myself versus helping to build somebody else's company up. You know, I gotta work my butt off, you know, in exchange for pay to make this person or this organization richer, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's, I'd like to really talk about it if we can for a minute, just the mindset thing, like changing environment, changing location, like that's one thing. And that's all, it's a lot of external stuff. Like you can literally go anywhere on the planet and find peace and quiet and tranquility, even if you're in New York City, or if you're in the middle of Boise, Idaho, where Navy cop might want to end up someday. You can literally go anywhere on the planet and find tranquility and peace of mind. But I feel like the thing that a lot of people that we talk about a little bit, but a lot of people don't talk about it, especially when they're trying to move from military to civilian life or any other transition in life, is the mindset shift that you have to do in order to make that work for you. Because sometimes you don't have the option. Sometimes you don't have the choice of like, hey, I want to move here. Hey, I want to go there. Hey, I want to buy a bungalow here. Hey, I want to go to Bali. Like, you don't always have that choice. Sometimes you're stuck in a certain situation. You're stuck with certain parameters that kind of uh, form your view of the world and what you have options to do. And I feel like the mindset thing is what actually changes things a ton, no matter where you are. If you're in a job, you're stuck in a job, you just took on a new job, or you're getting recently fired from your job. Like, I feel
Hmm.
like the mindset thing is the thing that helps you escape all of that trouble, not escape, but helps you navigate all that trouble, and not to get on the resiliency bandwagon. But really, that's what it is really just having the mindset to understand there's a lot of stuff that's external to you, that's a lot of things that are outside of your control, and the things that you do control, you, your family, your life, um, your
Right.
immediate needs and wants, and what you have to do and what you want to do. I think the mindset thing is, and I think it's what kind of made it a lot easier for me when I was getting out of the military, is because I started that way, 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 way early, because of circumstances, because of things that I was going through in my own life, because of a divorce, because of, not seeing my kids for, 10, 11 months out of the year. Um,
Yeah.
it forced me to look inside and look internally and try to shift my mindset to a better place. And once I did that, I became happier. And it didn't happen overnight. It took time. It took years. But literally every single year was better and better and better, to the point where now I'm a lot calmer than I was. I still have moments of insecurity. I still have moments of anger and moments of frustration and things like that, but it's not as severe. Like, the severity levels come down drastically from where it was, even in my time being in the military when I was still in uniform.
Yeah. And real quick, I'm gonna bring this up on the screen.
Yep.
Oscar Galliano. I find that many of us let our bodies go to waste after retirement. We become lazy, don't want to shave or even get haircuts. That eventually leads to feeling depressed. Damn, Oscar, are you
Right.
telling me? Are you trying to tell me something, man?
Just saying. If the
No, no,
shoe
and
fits.
no, and that's true, man. It is, because we do stop taking care of ourselves once we leave the uniform, right? Um, I I heard some folks joking about it before I retired, that they were going to call each other in a year to see who got fatter. And this was like 2 years ago or something. It wasn't like during the time I was retiring; it's before I was. Folks are
Yep.
joking like, "Hey, let's call each other, see who gets fatter after 2 years." And I'm like, "That's a terrible thing to do." Funny, I laughed at it, right? But it's a terrible thing. But yeah, I mean that leads to that too. Like, you got to take care of, number one. You got to take care of yourself. If you're just, it's a like, for instance, me, I gained probably 15 pounds since I retired, since I got out, and that'll happen because you're not, getting up at 5 in the morning every day. I still try to, but you're not doing the workouts, the regimented routine as you're used to for the last 20 plus years. Um, so I'm indulging more in like sweets and stuff like that if I want to. Oh, here's a piece of cake. I don't have to go weigh in tomorrow or whatever. Let me just eat this, or I don't have to do a PFT next week, so I don't really have to work my body or whatever, or a PRT or whatever. I don't have to work my body as hard this time around. But as you start like gaining the weight and stuff, it starts feeling, you start trying to close the pants up, and you're like, damn, I gained some weight, and that kind of gets in your head a little bit. And I've been there too. That's why I kind of like took a step back from this. I cut soda out of my diet. It's not even diet, right? Out of my life. I cut that out of my life, for the sole fact that I was like, this is just empty calories. I don't need this trash. And I felt like bad after eating, drinking the soda mentally, because I've always felt like that after eating some McDonald's. I'm like, I shouldn't do this. I feel terrible now. So I just kind of cut that stuff out of my system, out of my life, because as if you continue that, it does kind of lead you down towards a spiraling depressive mood. You're not who you used to be. You start looking back. I'm not, I can't run like this anymore. I don't look the same anymore. I don't feel right anymore. Well, there's a reason for that, because of your habits. Good info there, Oscar. I agree. Yeah, the haircuts. I do have to give myself a haircut. Maybe not weekly anymore. Maybe every other week, but I do try to give myself a haircut. And I still do it myself. I've been cutting my own hair since I was 15 years old. So I did this video years back about how much I saved on haircuts, and it's probably like in the 30,000s now that I've saved. But probably one of the best things I ever learned how to do is the barracks cuts. No, good info. Oh, did I hide something on there? What was this?
Maybe. Yeah, you're good.
Okay, let's see. Navy cop, retired 15 years as of January 1st this year. Jobs, finances, a second divorce 13 years ago. Currently underemployed, as I've mentioned before, and still looking. Mindset, post-military, still evolving. I agree, man. I agree. It's a never evolving thing, and it's hard to get on track with that. It really is. Like I'm going through it right now. My mindset just shifted a little bit. It went from trying to do to like taking a step back, taking care of me. And I imagine here shortly in the next year, I'm probably going to get into the mindset of, hey, what can I do next? Though I do want to get away from that. I imagine that will creep into my mind at some point in time.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple books that I wanted to bring up. One of them I don't have with me physically. I've got it on my phone somewhere. I could pull it up as easily, or I could pull it up on the screen if you wanted to. But the one that you mentioned before, it's called The Four Agreements. It's this book right here.
Very cool. Very good. Very good. By Mr. Ruiz.
Yep.
Go Ruiz. Yep.
Miguel Ruiz. So there's a thing about books, right? We read a ton of books. I read a ton of books. You read a ton of books. I find myself going back to a certain stack of books. This is probably one of those books. I haven't read it in quite a while, but I'm probably gonna maybe dig into it. But like this book right here, Trying to Change Mindset, like this is one of those books that'll really help you do that, as far as getting in the right practical mind for dealing with things. And the funny thing is, like, I read this book probably the first time, probably 10, 15 years ago. I'm sure if I read it again now, there's going to be different stuff that I get out of this book that I didn't get out of it from 10, 15 years ago, because I was a totally different person 10, 15 years ago, right? Same with this book right here. It's just a little small book. I actually have like 3 or 4 copies of this book just laying around. I was up in Boston, and I was somewhere with my kids, and we were at like a little gift shop, and they had a stack of books there. And this was one of the books, Benjamin Franklin, Way to Wealth. It's a very, very old book written by a very, very smart man. And again, it's literally like 30 pages. It's seriously not that big of a deal. But it talks about simple things like frugality, about, again, mindset kind of things. It's another book that I read from time to time. And then one of the other ones that I read is it's by a guy named Seneca, and it is called
some guy named
Seneca. On happiness, I believe it is. Let me look it up real quick. But it's a little booklet. It's probably like 70 pages. And again, it's one of those books where you can go back and read it over and over and over, maybe once a year, maybe once a quarter, and just, get a little bit of life lessons and shortness of life. Sorry.
On the shortness of life. Yeah.
But he's also got another one.
Really thin book.
Yeah, it's super thin. Great
so
little
good, though.
paperback to carry around in your backpack or in your back pocket even. Amazing book, but this is what it looks like. It's actually like it's this one right here. So
On the Shortness of Life. Yep, that's a good one, man. I got that up on my shelf. So what was the 4 Agreements? Yeah, it's been a while since I read that one, and I got back into it. It's just good life lessons.
Yeah.
Very short read, very short read. I think I read it like, God, probably the same as you, like 10 years ago. And then I saw it in the library. I'm like, let me check this one out again. And that one is still on like the Amazon bestsellers list after like so many years after it's been written. So very, very good read, very insightful for being very short. Yeah, the shortness of life, that one's awesome. I do like that one. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the comment from Kyle about the Thinking Fast and Slow, also a great book. There's a ton of books out there. Again, I would just say, like, find the one that speaks to you and try to grab one thing out of that book and try to incorporate that one thing into your life. Like, beyond that, like, don't go in with big expectations and this book's going to change my life. Like, it will, but it's going to take years for it to change your life. Like, it's not going to happen overnight. So if you can grab a book like this,
I'll tell you what, John, I was on the flight over. I had brought one with me in my bag, but I decided to finish this. I was listening to an Audible book. It's called The Almanac of Naval Ravikant, and I just finished it on the flight. Dude, if there was one book I would recommend this month, it would be that one. It would be that one. It was insightful from somebody who went from an entrepreneur. He's like a philosopher, this guy. You know, he's like just so insightful in what he talks about. And the cool thing is, his book is completely free online. If you go to like Navalmanac, I think it is .com. So the Eric Jurgensen is the author of that. So what this guy did was just took tweets from like the last 10 years of Naval Ravikant and made this book and gave some insight on all his tweets, right? And it is completely free online. Like I just happened to look up like PDF, and then I'm like, oh, I don't even have to like attempt to find the PDF of this one. It's completely free there for us. So you can put it on your Kindle, whatever. I like to write in my stuff, so I'm going to buy the book anyway. But yeah, as you can see, free PDF, free EPUB, all that stuff. You can donate to it. But so insightful, man. This guy was an entrepreneur. He's a thinker. He's a doer, and he tells you how to do things the right way from his perspective, and he tells you how to live a good life. If you want to make a ton of money, he has a viewpoint on that. If you want to live a better life, he's got a viewpoint on that. So good, man. It is so good. It's one of those, like, I don't usually go back and listen to my audiobooks again, but I'm going to put this one on the list for it. And at the end, the last chapter is just completely books that he recommends.
Right.
It's so good, man. I can't tell you enough about that one. The Almanac of Naval Ravikant.
Yeah, I wrote it down last week that you mentioned it. I knew it was coming out, but I just wasn't sure when it was coming out. But I just added it to Audible just now. So.
Oh, it's so good, dude. So good.
It's 4 or 5 hours? That's not bad. It's pretty small.
No, it's a short one, man. Just put it at like 1.5 or 1.2 speed. You're good. You're good. Let me see. We got Kyle mentioned he grabbed Noise as a follow-up. He co-authored with an attorney, heard good things. Awesome, man. I have not picked up Noise nor read it yet, but I'm going to put it on my list, man. I love all the recommendations, dude. It really, just like you said, you can just take a little thing from each book, because it is the way I look at it, and the way I explained to my kid at one point when I asked him, hey, have you read this book already? I gave him Make Your Bed, you know, that the book by the Admiral. God, his name is escaping me. Make Your Bed.
Admiral Cravens?
McCraven. I can't recall. So
mix something.
The premise of it is that just you do something small to start your day, it will make the rest of your day better.
McCraven.
I gave it to him. I'm like, hey, read this one. And he's like, why do I need to read it? Why, Dad? And I was like, I make my bed already. I'm like, I know you do, but it's not what that's about. You know, it's a little bit more than that. But yeah, if you take one thing from each thing that you read, it doesn't have to be completely profound. You know, it's like, oh my God, this book is a revelation. You know, whatever. take one thing and incorporate it into your life, man, it is so good, man.
And that
That's
goes back to
I
the
got it.
mindset thing, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, it does.
if you go into the mindset before reading the book or listening to the audiobook of, I'm going to find one golden nugget within the book covers of this book,
Hmm.
then that's what you'll end up finding. Like, you, even the worst books that I've read, like, there's always been at least one or two lessons that I've pulled from any book that I've read. And that's really just going into the mindset beforehand, before I sit down, with the intention of
Yeah.
pulling just one useful thing out of the book and trying to incorporate that into my life. And if you do that over and over, eventually you build a stockpile of really good habits and good things that you can carry on and tweak and adjust along the way, and make them fit your lifestyle. But really, that's really all it is.
Oh, 100%, man. It is. It is. Combine that with some good scenery, go read outside, go, it's awesome. I took a book with me outside. It's freaking windy out here, man. I don't know if you can hear like the wind and all that whipping through. And I took a book with me out there while my kids are walking around the beach and all that. And it's like a rocky beach right outside our door. And but it's so windy, man. It's like the pages were whipping through. I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to read anything out here, man. Let me just put them back in my pocket and just read it when I'm upstairs. So yeah, the location matters too, right? But it's, oh man, there's so much you can learn, dude. So much you can learn. And that's a big thing too, is disconnecting from social media, right? So I found that I stopped watching the news. So the news isn't a big thing too. There's a lot going on,
Yep.
and without getting too far into what the specifics and all that, it can really be anxiety. It can be like, okay, oh my God, the stock market is crashing. Oh my God, what am I going to do? That was me when I was like, I didn't look at my TSP or anything. I'm like, I'm not going to look at my TSP. I I saw the stock market tanking and all that. I didn't move into G or anything like that. I was like, you know what? I got a couple of years before I retire. Let it just ride out.
Yep.
Whatever happens, happens. But yeah, just going online and just seeing so many people like, just, oh my God, what am I going to do? My life is ruined in this. And that kind of feeds into your life too. It's like, shit, is my life ruined too? Like, and then I started feeling that anxiety. Like, maybe I should check it. What is this next channel talking about the stock market? Let me go on MSNBC. Let me go on Fox. Let me go on CNN. Oh my God, things are, it's a disaster, and you start feeling that weight pull you down. And that's when I was like, you know what? Let me cut this trash off. So I stopped watching the news. This whole week here has been kind of like a cleanse for me. The only thing I really watched on TV was, I've been watching this Red Sox documentary on Netflix, in the clubhouse, and I watched a baseball game yesterday, the Padres. I'm a big Padres fan, and the UFC fight last night, and that's it. I'm like, okay, I just really want to see these things, but aside from that, the TV's just been going on in the background, right? Just stayed away from the news, didn't want to hear all that trash, and I found that getting away from that, even in the last 4 days that I've been out here, has been just cleansing, dude. Just staying away from the news, staying away from what everybody is like crazily talking about. Oh my God, the world's falling apart. Well, the world seems kind of good out here to me, man. I mean, like, I'm looking outside, I see these pine trees and stuff, and this mountain up here. It looks pretty good to me. I don't know. So it's that fear mongering that they're doing, right? They're trying to pull you in, like change your mindset, but don't let it suck you in, man. That's one big thing that I've learned about myself. Like, hey, get rid of all this trash that I'm watching. Watch less of the damn news,
No.
and especially like on my Facebook thing. I haven't been on the Facebook until like this morning when I went to go log in and all that, and saw all these requests to join the military retirement group. And I see like these posts about, oh, Trump this, or, this, Democrats, Republicans. I was like, oh, fuck, this is like the last thing I wanted to see when I'm on here. Like, I just don't care anymore. Should I care? As an American, sure, why not? But to an extent, because once it starts affecting this, I'm going to get off that. So,
Yeah.
And I know like I have people from two completely different trains of thought on my YouTube friend or my Facebook friends lists, and they're constantly bickering back and forth and all that. And I'm like, it's tiring to see that, man. It really is. It's like it's overwhelming. It's tiring, and I'm like, do I give enough shits about it to respond to anything? I'm like, I don't care anymore. You know, whatever happens, happens. I have minimal control over what happens, you know, over my head, you know, with the country. I can vote, yes. Aside from that, what else can I do from where I'm sitting here in this room that looks like a sauna? What else can I do? You know, what are your thoughts on that, man? What do you think?
Yeah, I like to take the Abraham Lincoln perspective on it when I get upset or I feel like something's like creeping under my skin, or if I come across something, because I spend about 5 to 7 minutes on Facebook. Like literally, it's just posting something that I'm reading or posting a quote. I'll go say happy birthday to everybody who's got a birthday today. And then I'll catch like the first 1 or 2 posts in the feed. And usually I'm not paying attention. Sometimes it'll be somebody close to me that I know really well that has posted something about their life, and maybe I want to comment on it. But the rest of it's a lot of stuff about what you just said. And so the Abraham Lincoln approach to it is really just, if you're angry, if you're upset, write the letter, you know, write out the comment, and then turn it off and put it in a drawer and let it sit there and don't send it. So you've got the thoughts out of your mind. You've got your aggression or whatever you're holding back out of your mind. You don't necessarily have to send it in order to get it out of your system, right? And then let it sit. And if it's really, really, really important, you can revisit it, you know, a week later or 2 weeks later, or a month later, or whatever. It may be beyond the shelf life of social media. But I mean, again, if it doesn't matter in a week, then why does it matter today? I think you're on mute, man.
I am on mute. Yep. You're going to rack your mind trying to think about all this stuff. It's not going to matter next week. You know, here we go. Navy cop. It says, my dad, retired Air Force officer, was very well read and would routinely read 2 to 3 books at a time, write in the margins, etc. I took a lot of that with me, but I haven't opened a book in a while. Not good. Hey, you know what? No better time to start than now. Navy cop. No better time to start than now. So, I mean, we're throwing out some recommendations out there. So if you like what you see, you know, pick one up. I'd say The 4 Agreements is a great one to start with. It's a very short read, or The Shortness of Life. Very short reads. You could probably knock that out in like a day, really, if you really wanted to. And, you know, it'll write in the margins. You know, I've been known to accidentally write in the margins of my library books and then return them.
Yeah.
Accidentally.
I mean, if you really want, and I know I've mentioned these probably about a dozen times on the podcast already, but if you really want to really get back into reading, if you haven't read in a long time, or if reading's not your thing, these 2 books right here, The Daily Stoic and The Daily Laws, 2 of the best books probably out on the market, period.
What's the other one? The Daily Stoic and what?
The Daily Laws. So one's by Ryan Holiday, the other one's by Robert Greene. Robert Greene, who wrote the 48 Laws of Power, which you just recently read, maybe a month or 2 ago.
That's right. Yep.
Both great books, and both a great way to get back into reading and building that habit of reading again, because you get to just sit down and read 1 page and then just put it away and then come back the next day and read 1 page. You can try to read it in the morning and read it at night, however you want to do it. But really just like the most compacted, it's like a bouillon cube is what I would describe it as. It's really, really flavorful, and it's packed into this little tiny package, right? And wrapped in a nice little piece of foil. And you drop that in the water of your life, and it just makes the water of your life taste like chicken stock or beef stock or whatever, right? It's really, really super umami packed, flavorful nuggets of information on 1 page. It's a lot of umami in this books. So
it is. You're taking me back there, John. To you reminded me of times where I was out in the field. Uh, what is that? I was out in the field, and
Plane just
they
crashed.
would. Yeah, no, hell no. It's not some car driving by there, and they would give you they call it wet hots. You know, when I was
Okay.
younger, and then they would give you the hot water or like the chicken broth. So when it was cold
Yeah.
outside in the field, you know, you'd have the cooks or whoever come by, and then they'd have these big Gatorade containers, and you just press the little button, and you get your canteen cup and fill it up with wet hots, and it's just chicken broth. And you just drink that, and it was so good because it was cold out, right? You're up in like the mountains or whatever, doing training or whatever the hell you're doing, and drink your wet hots and that chicken broth. Just it was the best thing ever at that point in time. Not anything that you would drink here, you know, outside of training environments, but during that time, it was so good. You're taking me back.
We still keep chicken broth and beef stock on hand, like in the
Yeah.
wintertime when it's really, really cold and we're not feeling so well. We just get some chicken
Mhm.
broth and put a little bit of these little tiny little noodles or maybe rice and just throw it in there and
Yeah.
just heat it up. Oh,
Yeah.
it's the best meal you can have because it fills
Yeah.
you up.
All good.
Tastes really good. It's got a lot of salt and a lot of other things in it, and it just hits the spot always.
It's good stuff. Good stuff, man. You're making me hungry now, man. I haven't had breakfast yet. I've been filling myself full of coffee and water here. But yeah, it is, man. It is like, oh. So yesterday I went out and had fish and chips. I guess they're known here around this area for their halibut fish and chips,
Okay.
which is amazing. It was it was good. It was great. We went up to this little restaurant, had like a rooftop on there. You could see like the coast. Kind of windy, but it was cool to see all that, you know. But yeah, fish and chips. And then my youngest son, was like, I don't know if I like this, or he couldn't finish it or something. I was like, dude, you are out of your mind. Give me
Bite.
that right now. Give me that right now. You're not going to throw away halibut fish and chips, dude.
Craziness.
Yeah, let me put this away.
Real quick.
Yeah, Navy cop. I was a voracious reader when I was younger. I have allowed life to get in the way and derail me from a lot of that. You just got to get back on it, man. That's all it is. Open one up and get back on it. I I think I read more now than I did in my later years in the Marine Corps. I really do. Like there's there's a commandant's reading list. I know every service has like their reading list, like the senior enlisted or commander's reading list or something. Even like COs have their own reading lists. Different commands have like their own little library you can check out books with. And you know, I took it for granted. Like I was like, oh, they're always going to be there. You know, whatever commandant's reading list, I'll read it when I can. There is good books on there, and I find myself going back to some of those because there's a reason why they're on there. There's a reason, and you know, there's life lessons, things to be learned. You know, it could be tactical plans, it could be like historical information, whatever. But I find that I'm picking up more things now than I ever did in my later, like my last 5 years in the military.
Yeah, I've started reading heavily back in 2010, 2011, 2012, somewhere around there, and just kind of progressed from there. But again, it's literally just building the habit. It's doing it daily, trying to find anything to read. And it could be it could be an article on the internet. It could be an article in a magazine. It literally just could be anything. Just getting in the habit of spending 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes doing it. Same with journaling, right? Sit down and write for 5 minutes.
Right.
If you do that daily for 30 days, 60 days, you eventually build a habit. And of course, it's like anything else. Like you're not just going to sit down for 5 minutes and write. You're naturally going to want to write more. Some days you're going to want to write less, but blocking off that time and scheduling that time with yourself really makes a difference. It really makes a huge difference.
Yeah. So that book, The Almanac of Naval Ravikant, he talks a little bit about that. How his non-negotiable in the morning is getting up in the morning and working out. Non-negotiable. Like nothing happens before that. or he has to complete that task before he does anything else. And it could be 30 minutes, whatever, but he'll feel better afterwards. So it's the working out and it's writing for at least 30 minutes, and it'll kind of that's how he gets his day started. And those are his non-negotiables. And I do find that it is. I usually end up writing at night because that's like after my kids go to sleep, I have time on my hands. But I try doing it in the morning, and it is good because you think of things that you thought about the night before. Maybe you had a crazy dream. You write that thing down. You start the day with a clear head. So it is. I've been trying that for the last couple of days. It's working out all right. But yeah, that is one of my non-negotiables as well. Not so much in the morning all the time, but getting something in. Maybe I'll do mountain climbers here next to the bed. Maybe I'll do push-ups. Maybe I'll do something. Just even go for a walk. That is exercise. And your cardiovascular. You're putting exercising your legs a little bit, getting that fresh air, whatever. Those should be your non-negotiables. And I found that incorporating that into my life, man, has made it so much better. It's when you don't do anything. You get up in the morning and you sit on the couch and you start watching TV, and that becomes your habit. That's when I felt like the least good about myself. Like I'm getting nothing done really. Get up and go do something, accomplish, kind of like the make your bed type of thing. Have those non-negotiables. Start your day off with something that makes you feel good about yourself. An accomplishment. Oh, I accomplished 30 minutes of workout, 30 minutes of writing. That's an hour out of my 24 hours. Right? Like in my bed, going out doing whatever, going talking to whoever, and going accomplishing whatever. It makes you good. It makes it feel good having like a to-do list that you're just constantly checking things off of.
Yep. Yeah, my non-negotiable is first thing in the morning, as soon as I get up, and I'm usually up before everybody else, is to sit down, a little bit of caffeine, and then actually read those 2 books that I showed, and a third one. Check the birthdays on Facebook and make my little post if I have a post to make. Check the YouTube Studio app. Check my email and delete 90% of my email. That's it. That's my non-negotiable for every single morning, pretty much.
Yeah, that's probably been mine too before. Just delete half the crap that comes in my email because a lot of it's just like promotions or whatever I signed up for. But that's all it is, man. But yeah. So if you all haven't already, we have a ton of videos in our past live streams that are really, really packed full of good information on the Military Retirement Podcast. So if you haven't already, go back through those. We have a full library of things that you all can listen to. Just take some time. Just check it out. It really helps the algorithm too, but it also helps you out with some good information from past guests that we've had. And we got a couple good ones coming up as well. I just recently talked to a gentleman who works for the VA. He's a VRNE counselor, and there's so much. It seems like almost like a secret, right? Like, what do I have to tell people to get what I want out of the VRNE? And it seems like everybody's, it is like a mystery, right? And like even I started researching that. I was like, if I want to do this, what are the correct keywords I need to include in my conversation to get in there? But he's willing to come on the show as long as it's not in the capacity of his VA work, but just as somebody who has this knowledge, right? So we're not going to be announcing that he's like a VA representative or anything like that. Just a guy who knows how everything works within that realm. So I'm excited to bring that guy on because I have a ton of questions myself. Who else do we have coming on, John? Do you know? I'm trying to look at the calendar.
I can pull up the schedule. And I was going to say, even beyond helping the channel out, like literally watching the shows and watching them all the way to the end, if possible. I know they're pretty long sometimes. They're hour and a half, 2 hours. But even just watching the shows to the end, beyond anything else, or listening to the shows to the end, that helps get that into the hands of more veterans who potentially need to hear some of the stuff that we're talking about, or need some advice, or need some life guidance on things. So let me pull up. I'm
Have
just
we
gonna put it on
become
the
the old
screen.
guys,
And
John? Have we become the
nah,
old
we're not the
guys
old
now?
guys. Fuck that.
Not yet.
Fuck being the
The
old guys.
sages, the wisdom,
No.
stroking my beard.
I'll put out my tagline, my 5-second elevator pitch. I'm just a regular dude doing irregular things. That's all I am. Beyond that, call me whatever you want to call me.
I'm just a guy who knows a guy who knows another guy who retired.
Yeah.
That's
Let's
it.
just be let's do the transparency thing today. I'm just gonna put the schedule up on the screen, and these people are gonna be on the live either way. So here's what we got coming up.
Carlos Gallardo. Yeah, so a lot of these are from our LinkedIn folks. People who have connected with us on LinkedIn have mentioned that they would love to be on the show to talk about things that they've been through, talk about their experiences, in hopes that it will help somebody else out. So Annette Winberger, I believe Annette is a retired major, doing good things too. She runs a veteran magazines as well. I saw it on LinkedIn. Michael Pires, also from LinkedIn, Marine Corps guy, I think. Yeah, a lot of great folks coming on the show. Super excited to always talk to fellow veterans and people going through the transition, hear their story, what helped them out, what didn't help them out, just kind of dispel any myths and pass on great information to folks who are making that transition or even have retired already and are looking for a way forward or just like listening to what we have to say.
And I'll apologize to all those folks in advance for putting their emails up. That was a boo-boo on my part. Sorry about that.
No, sorry about that. Man, all good.
I didn't redact the document. You can shoot me later.
Oh, but yeah, man. With that, I think it's been an awesome show, dude. It really has. It always fills my heart coming on here and talking to you, sharing information and just talking to folks who are in our comments and whoever else is listening. It really does feel good, and I came out here. I didn't bring any of my equipment with me. It's kind of like all makeshift. These are like headphones that I use for running. I'm using this little DJI little microphone thing here that usually goes connected with my DJI Osmo Pocket. I'm using my cell phone to do this thing, but it all worked out, right? It all worked out. I'm sitting here in the sauna inside the house. Well, it's actually the bedroom, but it's all like wooden panels. This house is awesome, dude. It's like all mid-century, and they didn't change it, but it looks so modern, mid-century type of thing. Very cool, very cool. One thing I will take away from this Airbnb here is, for one, the simplicity of it. For two, they have a very, very good library in the hallway. It's like some bookshelves just full of awesome reads, man. And I walked in, I'm like, oh shit. I'm like taking notes and stuff of what this guy's got out there. He's got to be like some kind of professor or something. I can see this old guy smoking a pipe on his typewriter, overlooking the ocean from his window or whatever up front. I'm sure that's who the owner is, But it looks so cool. It looks so cool, and it's just the sheer simplicity of it. You can tell he lives here, or somebody like a family lives here because they have, a closet full of their stuff here. But it prompts me to go back home and just get rid of things that I don't need, that are visually overwhelming. I think I'm going to do a little bit of that, just house cleaning when I get back to the house.
Yep. And it's also a great way to test the waters in different locations. Just grab an Airbnb somewhere and just live there for a week or two. It's the best way. It's the best, absolute best way to do it. You get a feel for the environment. You could stay in a comfortable place with a kitchen, usually, and a stove and all that stuff. If you can find one, it's the best way to travel.
It is. It is. You can find us on the Military Retirement Group. I promise I will, if you're watching this and you have sent us a request to join the Military Retirement Group, I think we're up to 18 now requests.
Yeah.
I haven't checked in the last week, but I will be adding folks on there. Some of them might be bots and all that stuff that try to come on there. So I do make sure that we bring on folks who are actually veterans or military on there, and that they're not like these bots that are trying to scam folks and all that stuff. So I will be adding these folks on there. You can send us an email to, what is it, info at
military-retirementpodcast.com.
Our new email. If you want to, be a part of the show, shoot us an email. Let us know a little bit about yourself. Shoot us a bio if you want, and let us know you want to be on the show, and we'll send you a calendar invite. We'd be happy to hear your story, especially if you're transitioning out from military to civilian, or you've got something crazy going on that maybe you want to share with the veteran community. We'd love to have you on. My own personal channel, The Green Logbook. It's on YouTube, continuously growing, just sharing stuff about myself, stuff about the journey, stuff about me coming out here and enjoying life in Oregon now. What else do we have going on? YouTube, we have the Facebook group, Military Retirement Group, the email. You can find us on LinkedIn if you want, connect with us on LinkedIn.
Yep.
So you can find us almost anywhere, really. But the point is to connect with fellow veterans, to help you out in your journey, and to, it's good to know folks. It is really good to know folks. And I'd be happy to connect with folks that listen to us.
Yep, absolutely. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching. We appreciate your attention. We appreciate your support of the show. If you have time, drop a comment in the comments below, whether you're watching this on YouTube or you're watching it on LinkedIn, or if you're watching it on Facebook or somewhere else. If there's a comment section, drop a comment in the comments below. I'm curious to know where you're watching us at. If you're on your phone, if you're on your iPad, if you're on the TV screen, if you're listening in your car on the way to work, back and forth to work. Of course, don't drop a comment while you're driving, but that's not recommended. But we'd love to know where everybody's tuning in from, and how you're watching or listening to us. Really curious to know that, so that we can maybe start to adjust things if we need to make it a better experience for you wherever you're watching or listening to us at. So, and trying to get the episodes pushed out to the audio podcast channels as efficiently as possible. I think I've overthought the process long enough. So.
Hey, I'm going to have some time on my hands here pretty soon there, John, so I'll be able to assist with that.
Okay.
It's a good amount of time. All right, with that, thank you all for listening to us babble on a little bit. If you got anything, please get a hold of us at that email right here below my face. And let's connect. With that, out here.
Next time, everybody. Out here.